All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to DC Fine Art. Just making sure everything sounds okay. It is super bright in here, and as you can tell, I am back in my old studio. And the reason why I moved is because my daughter, I think we were both talking about it, and we kind of missed both our rooms, so we ended up switching them back. So I am back in my original studio, and I have my super bright light up right now. I like, seriously, this thing is so bright that I think that I don't have eyebrows. Like, it almost looks like there they are, and then take them away, it's like, oh, they're gone. All right, so anyways, welcome everybody. If you guys are new to the channel, this is a live stream that I do every week, usually on Tuesdays about 7 p.m. unless something happens like storms that knock out power or power lines or stuff like that that can happen. But what I do on this is basically I work on artwork either on different mediums. I can either do color pencil or acrylic paintings, ink, watercolor. I just do different mediums. And we used to do it before where, you know, and I may still do it to where if we do something, then I can throw out like a drawing page, like where you can kind of trace over a line drawing if you're wanting to do this in a hurry and just kind of follow along with me. I did do some of those. Now I'm just kind of switching over because I need to get caught up with a lot of things and try and get some more paintings done. So in these, I'm just working on whatever it is that I'm working on. And once I get done with that, then I'll move on to something else, different medium, could be the same medium, not for sure. And I'll just be working on that until I get it done. And you guys can basically every live stream, you can kind of see what I'm doing, see what I'm working on. You can ask questions if you want to, anything that might be able to help you out. If you guys have any ideas, like you want to throw something out there, like needing help with this, or maybe understanding this, or how about you know, can you do like fur or just do something that maybe you're having a little struggles on, feel free to let me know in the comments. I mean, that's how I really like to get that feedback so that way I can help you guys out too. So anything helps. And Patreons, just want to let you guys know if you haven't already seen, we do have some reference photos this month that I did toss in there. I think there was a mushroom, a dandelion, which is really cute. I like the little dandelion. But then I also threw in my little puppy Whiskey, who had the puppy eyes. So it's called Puppy Eyes. But it was a really good picture, and I zoomed in just to kind of see if those had some really good, like a good picture to be able to see and get a good reference from. And you can, so I went ahead and used him as a reference photos. Now we'll be giving those out. I was doing them monthly, but now I'm just kind of randomly put them in there just whenever. And then I was going to work on some coloring pages too to toss in there. So you guys get some of those too. So if you're interested in any of that, you can jump over on my Patreon and check out that also. So I do have lessons on there that I did. I was doing them on voiceovers, lessons, but in different mediums, so they're all categorized. But now I have actually just started to do just live work on Patreon. I think it helps me out too on not doing such a long voiceover, but there is quite a few videos on there already with the voiceover and going over stuff. So just different things, random things over there on Patreon. So let's go ahead and turn this around so that way we can start working on this water. I've been working on it for quite some time now. Let's see here, live work, there we are. So here is the pelican that I was doing. Of course, we were starting on the water. I think we were doing a lot of the teals and those nice little teal colors, aqua colors in there. And then we started to work a little bit on the water or the sea foam. I think it's like sea foam and water mixture. And now I started working on down, I worked on over, and now we're working up. And this is going to be, basically you didn't get to see me do a lot of this, a lot of these colors or a lot of the top whites. So now you'll be able to see me do that in color pencil and work my way on up. I have not been using any odorless mineral spirits on this. So Usually I like to work with odorless mineral spirits, but for this, just trying to get in as much tiny details as I possibly can, I have been going in and using my colorless blender. And the one that I use is the Full Blender Bright. It is made by Caran d'Ache. So it's the same type of core that is inside a Caran d'Ache pencil, like one of their, like this Derwent. See, I picked up the wrong one. But it's kind of the same exact core that you would get inside of a color pencil, except that it doesn't have no color pigment in it. So you're just getting the makeup of it without the pigment, without the coloration. But I use that, I sharpen it up, and I end up using that to blend out any kind of gritty, grainy areas that maybe I need to get into. But for the most part, just keeping your pencil really super sharp and then just lightly going in on these areas that are kind of gritty, grainy does get rid of the gritty graininess. So you would just have to make sure that your pencils are really, really sharp. And that's what I'm doing instead of using the color pencil or the odorless mineral spirits that I normally do, which I didn't really mind too much if I had a little bit of gritty at the beginning, because usually it blends it out and soaks it in, so I don't have those issues. I am using and I just got it fixed. I have a electric pencil sharpener that I'm using. It is a X-Acto pencil sharpener. Let's see if I got enough cord on this to bring it over here. I tried to redo things to where I can kind of not have it, but you guys can see that. So this is a pencil sharpener that I'm doing or using. It is an X-Acto. It was kind of one of those things that they were selling at Dick Blick's, and they had like a special. It was on sale and it was in a store, and then went ahead and picked one up. So it was actually a really good deal. I stopped using it because I was using it for my soft pastels, which is a really bad thing to do. I would not suggest ever using it for soft pastels because and I thought it dulled it down. Like it was like within a month and it was like poof. I mean, it wasn't sharpening nothing. And I thought I literally broke it because of the soft pastels using it in that. But what it did was it broke off a piece of the tip of a soft pastel piece, and it was lodged in there. So I literally had to take that whole thing apart, and it is not easy, by the way. There is just so many screws. You have to take the little engine apart inside. I don't even know if it's called an engine. A little motor, I don't know. But you had to go in there and take it all apart just to try and reach the blade, and then you literally had to, you couldn't take the blade out. You had to like slide something in there to try and poke it and break it up and get it out. So I would not suggest using soft pastels in an electric sharpener, especially like that one. Just use it for color pencils, graphite, stuff like that is perfectly fine. But I ended up getting something different, which is the, it's a little blade, and it comes in a little, you know what, I totally forgot what it was. But it's a little sharpener. If you guys have seen me use that in some of my soft pastel things, I usually use that as a blade to cut it instead of doing it the other way. Because, yeah, any other sharpeners, good luck. They'll dull out. Don't prefer those. So usually I use my glove to go over a lot of my color pencils, so that way I don't leave any oils on my skin. I am not going to use that because, as you know, I'm really working far over this. You could put a piece of glycine over the top of it and then work, or you could do what I do, which I got this nice little bridge. And I think I got it from like Jerry's Artorama a while ago. But all it is like, it's made of like plastic or whatever it is. But you can just stick this right over the top of your color pencil. And as you can see, you can actually see through it. It's really nice. But I like to use it in order to rest my arm on. And that way I can go over it. It's not just covering just my hand, but it's actually helping my whole entire arm. And this is good if you don't work straight up and down. If you work straight up and down with your color pencil on an easel, then it'll probably be a little bit different. but I like to work like at a desk. So this is perfect for me to have to go over this without touching. I'm really hoping that my focus doesn't go out of focus on this. Let's go ahead. I'm going to raise this up. And that way, guys can kind of see, and I'm going to lower this. That way you guys can see even better. I hear Pebbles over there chomping on something. Maybe you guys can see a little bit better. As you can tell, there's a lot of detail and a lot of work going into this. And I like the way it looks, like as far as like, it's not exactly like the reference photo, like I said, but it just I just did it the way I felt like doing it, or what I felt like kind of mimicking the reference photo, but yet kind of giving it more of a coral type of look to the water. Like I started to do a little bit of it in here, and as I did the top, I was like, you know what, that looks really cool. I'm just going to go with it all throughout and just see how it goes. And I absolutely love it. It almost looks like a splash of water, but yet kind of like this coral kind of splash. And as it comes up here, it looks more and more like water kind of coming up. So it almost looks like a mixture there, which I really do like. Let me get rid of this mouse before I end up pushing buttons like it did on one of the videos. Get me a little drink. All right. I don't need my blender. I'm just kind of pulling some of my pencils out that I was using. And that's all I really need. So in these, I have basically what I'm using here. And these are all, yeah, they're all the Caran d'Ache luminance pencils. But I got silver gray. I've been using Payne's Gray 60%. I've been using Payne's Gray 30%. With some of the blue color, I've been using the gray blue. This one has been coming in super, super nicely to give me some of that bluish tone. And then for some of the aqua that I've been kind of putting as it in here, which I don't know if you guys can see. I know you can see this right in here, but I've actually got little touches of it all throughout here too, which for some reason the camera does not want to pick it up. I got a little bit in here too, but, and in here, but you guys can't see it probably all too well. Camera is not very nice to me, but that is the light, oh boy, it's one of those words again, Melashati green. I don't know, it looks more like a teal to me. And I've been using that toward the lower part, so that way it kind of gives that translucent kind of look, like you can see through and see some of this teal maybe coming up from in behind. So that's what I've been using so far. Oh, and then I also been using my white, and the white I use is the Chinese white, and it's the Derwent Drawing Chinese white. Really, really like this pencil. This is a must-have. If you do color pencil work, I just say that's a must-have pencil. I think that's pretty much it for right now that I've been using, except for the darker colors in here, which we used on the last live stream. If you want to go check that out, that would be on last week's. So where am I starting? Okay, so I'm right in there. Oops. I have my reference photo, the same thing that you're seeing at in the right-hand corner of the screen right here, right there. Okay, that's what I'm seeing right now. I have a tablet that's out, like a little small tablet, and I'm using that to look at my reference photos, so that way I can kind of see what I'm doing. Makes it really nice to work from those too if you haven't worked from them. That way you can actually zoom in on your drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and take this blue, and basically I'm going to go and just kind of make some watermarks, some splashes. And I'm just going in circles and just lightly doing this. I am not going to push down hard. any time that I'm going to push down hard would be more or less toward the end of it. Whenever I'm done with my design, I've got enough pigment on the paper, and I'm just trying to fill in any kind of small gaps or any of that stuff. Then maybe I might burnish a little, be like to do that. But whenever you're first starting out, definitely have a light hand and do little circles, because that way you can add several layers to your drawing and get it just the way you want it. And see, I'm kind of making some shapes. I'm leaving gaps though. So you see how I did that? And I left some gaps in there. Also, if you're new and you just happen to stumble across this video, or at least this live stream, please leave a like. And even if you're not new, please leave a like. Anybody, please leave a like, because that definitely helps this channel grow. Also, if you're new to this channel, definitely I would like for you guys to subscribe. I'm really hoping to reach 1,000. I think last time I said that I was only 5 away from 1,000. Obviously, I was totally out of it that whole entire day, because I think I told everybody in my family, like my husband, my son, my daughter, I was like, yeah, I'm only 5 away. Well, come to find out, I was totally like 50, like 5 off or something. I don't know, but I was off. I was totally off. I don't know what I was thinking in my own little world. But definitely, if you could subscribe to the channel, love to have you on the channel. And you never know what we're gonna do. I mean, like I like to change things up a lot, and just try and get the groove and what feels good and what helps you guys out, or what you guys like to see. I'd rather just hear from you guys. Otherwise, I definitely need to, like for instance, like doing these live streams. I like doing them. Like they're not bad at all. It's just, if I have to sit, and the only thing is if I was trying to get an art piece done and I had to sit and wait a whole week to try and work on it, and I'm really excited about working on it, that was kind of a little bit of a bummer. So that's why I decided that I was going to work on whatever it is what we're doing, and then I would work on it throughout the week, and wherever I was at, like whatever I have left off, or if I'm starting something new, you guys would just kind of see what I was doing, where I was at on everything, and then ask questions or anything like that, or just join the chat. And that way I can kind of get some of my drawings done. But not only that, I like to spend some time on my drawings. It definitely helps to spend the amount of time on your drawing. If you just rush through it, and I see so many artists on, or at least quite a few artists that are even on YouTube, and they're trying to get done with one painting and do it within like 2 hours, and they're doing it real quick just so that way they can get that one done. And it's just like, yeah, you could do that, but it's just, you know, and it looks good. It's not that it looks bad or anything. It looks really, really good. But just think of what they could have done if they spent more time on it and worked on it and then try and sell it. I mean, it's just, it feels like to me like kind of a rush thing to do. And they're not really, and they're doing like videos to try and help. But yet the thing that they really love to do, you know, they're kind of setting that aside. And I don't want to get to the point where I'm working on like artwork that I'm rushing through and then trying to do only like just like this pelican. This pelican was just going to be the pelican, just so that way I can show you guys how to draw feathers or do like some of the wood grain, and then just leave it, you know. And that's not helping me out as an artist. That's not actually getting it to where I could sell it or anything like that. It's not helping me out. I'm just rushing through trying to do things really quickly instead of working on actual artwork. Like doing the whole thing and putting in a lot more. So I am going to switch that over and start putting in more work into my drawings. And whether or not it takes me 1 week, it takes me 2 weeks, it takes me a month. I mean, I'm not going to stop every you know, do it one time, stop, and then try and, you know, pick it back up once a week. You know, I'm just going to keep going with it. So anyways, this here I just went ahead and switched over. This is the Payne's Gray 60%, and as you can tell, it is much darker. And I'm just going to go in here and try and darken up some of these areas in here. I'm going to fill in this one. And I am still going light. I'm not pushing down very hard at all. I'm going over some of that blue, but yet kind of making in a little bit of my own design, and just maybe breaking through the center of some of these too. So I'm just doing these randomly. But I am trying to go up, kind of making it kind of go at an angle, like it can be swooping and just kind of coming up. And then as I round this corner, I want to start shifting everything kind of up and out like this, like curving it. So we're going to start going at a different angle and rolling it up. So right now this is coming in, and then this here is going to start going up. So we're still trying to follow. That's cool. It's so weird. I put my blue there of my arm and everything just turned yellow. That is crazy. Why is my camera like that? Like, I don't like it. It's either my camera, and that's a really, supposedly a really good camera too. It was not cheap. I got it a long time ago, but still, I mean, my goodness. It turned everything yellow. It's still using the, see, I'm going to start turning this into kind of like a water look. So I'm going to take some little directions a little bit differently, kind of going up here. Okay. Now I'm going to take the Payne's Gray 30%, which is just a shade different, like a little bit lighter. And I'm just kind of going in some of these little areas where I can see the paper and just kind of sticking a little bit in there. It's pretty close to the color of the paper, but it's got that grayish tone to it. Oh my goodness, might have to get me a drink. Okay. Now this is my lighter one. It is silver gray, and it is very similar to the white. I'm just kind of going in and making the shapes of the waves here. I'm just trying to find some areas too where it could connect. Okay, now we do have some darker areas in there, like if they're a little bit too dark, I would just take that Payne's Gray 30% and just go over it just a little bit and kind of tone those back just a tad. So that way it's still darker, but it's not that dark. So going in here and just, I was making those little outlines. I do have some of the blues still in there. Even if the blues just, let's just say it's a little bit too blue, just go on top of it with that Payne's Gray 30% and it definitely lightens it just a little bit to where it's not sticking out just as much, but it does still have that Veda blue. It just definitely tones it down. Now, if you're wanting to add in like little bubbles being tossed up in there too, you can also do that with your Derwent Chinese White. And anywhere that you feel like you want to throw them in, you can throw them in. You can make them big, small, however you want. Like there's one, we can put one there, maybe a little one. And let's just say it's not really, you're just kind of tossing in these little circles wherever you feel like. And there is some darker ones in there too. So we could actually make them a little darker if you wanted to, or you could leave them a little bit lighter. And like with this one here, see, I'm not getting it as, like this one here, I'm not being able to get it as wide as I'm wanting. Well, there's an easy fix for that. There is the Faber-Castell Perfection Eraser. This is really super nice. I do like it a lot because I can actually take it and just go in a lightly little circle here until you can feel the paper underneath. And see, it starts to feel like you can feel the paper. Then just dust it off. And let's come back to that. And we can make it just that much more whiter. Let's do the same thing to this one here. I know it keeps on focusing in and out. Hopefully it'll stop that. So I'm just going to take it and go in a little circle until I can feel the paper underneath. Dust it off and then come back in and make it nice and white. I could also come back in here and put in a little bit of a shadow. Oops, I want to use my finger. So there we have it. So that way you can create those little bubbles or those little white foam kind of things that are flying up in the air everywhere. So then I'm just going to continue on just making some of these little textures here. And we can kind of do what we want with this. I mean, if you want to, you can make some of this like come out. I'd really like to make that a little bit wider. So it all just depends on what you're, just what you feel like doing. Kind of going in circles. I'm using the white now. I want this to show up a whole lot. In any place, like I said, if you're wanting it to stand out like a lot, and you want it a whole lot brighter, you can always use that perfection eraser, remove some of the color pencil that is underneath, like the blues or the grays, if whatever's getting in your way, and then use just straight white on it. You can do that, and that makes it a whole lot lighter. And if you're wanting to go even brighter than that, then I would suggest using the titanium white mixture from Brush and Pencil along with the touch-up texture. Mix those together, and that way you can create some of the really bright little sparkles or little highlights that you're wanting to get. That's probably the whitest of the white that you can possibly get, is by using that, which I will most likely be using on this, because I definitely want to get some little sparkles or some little tiny dots in here that are just kind of glistening for this water to kind of glisten a little bit. So I'm definitely going to have to use it to get that like super crisp, bright white little sparkle in this. So now that I got that in there, I'm going to just go ahead and let's go around some of this darker area. I want to keep some of that darker area just for now. wondering if that's my son. Here's somebody walking down the stairs. Like, is that my son? No, that's my puppy. What are you doing, Whiskey? Oh, no, 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 no. You can't be doing that, baby. No, no. Nope. Nope. No. You can't be taking the tape off of my my Ethernet cable. You can see the internet go down on my computer. Here, watch out. You can't be doing that. I'll leave my door open just so I can watch you and make sure you don't chew on that. That would not be good. I know. And you can probably hear my husband's TV because he definitely has that on to where you can hear it. So maybe close it just a little bit. If not, one of them are going to have to be polite enough to come get the puppy from chewing on that. He left. I was like, oh my goodness. That would be horrible. Have a live stream and it crashes. Be like, well, my dog took down the Ethernet. That would definitely be my luck. Like, that would so be my luck. Okay, so we got some of this darker gray in here, and if we want to lighten that up just a little bit, like I said, you take the 30%, the Payne's Gray 30%, because that's Payne's Gray 60%. So we're taking 30% over it, and we're just kind of toning that down. And so it's making it to where, and if you're wondering about, you know, by me doing this, does that mean I'm turning it into Payne's Gray 30%? And why didn't I just use that in the beginning? It's actually not. It's actually a mixture between the Payne's Gray 60% and the Payne's Gray 30%. It's mixing the two together. So it's kind of like thinking like paint. Whenever you mix a dark gray with a little bit of lighter gray, you get this mid-tone gray. So that's all you're doing, is you're just lightening it up just a little bit. So it's not as light as the Payne's Gray 30% that I'm putting on it, but it's not as dark as the Payne's Gray 60%. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So now that we did that, we can throw just like, I would throw like a little bit of like, I wonder if we could do teal at that angle. I think it would still fall underneath the category of it. So there could be some teal in here. So I'm going to throw in some teal. Now I know how teal is in this camera. It may not want to add the teal in there. So it may just look like I'm adding nothing, when in fact I'm adding a little bit of teal. Let me just add a little bit of blue in there also. So we got some of that teal. I'm going to throw in just a shade of this blue, especially in and around some of these areas here. Let me take some teal. I added some little bubbles in there, but definitely want to add some teal. I could also add a little bit of a darker teal to it. like some of the areas over here type of teal. It'll be this one. Just a little bit. I wouldn't add a whole bunch to it, but maybe just a little bit in there. That way we kind of sparked a little bit of color in there. And I know you can't see that. Like, let me see if I can't lift it up and see if you guys can see it. I know it looks, it's just crazy on, and I showed this to my husband and he even said, it doesn't look, it looks better in person than it does in real life. And I'm like, it looks better in person than it does on camera. And I'm like, it's the camera that's doing it. Like, it doesn't want to show the colors and everything the way it looks. But you can see a little bit of graininess, but you can see that I added, and it's still really, really bright. Like, the colors are actually darker. So, but it's coming out really light. And then if you want some of that gritty graininess to kind of go away once you're done with it, you can go over it with the colorless blender or just sharpen your pencils and just kind of go over the area with a really sharp pencil. But I am not to that point yet, so, oops, I took my armrest away. I feel like I can't function. Okay. I'll stick a little bit of this Payne's Gray just by itself, 30%. Maybe a little bit of blue. Oop, not that dark. Let's go with the lighter. Oops. Now I just whack the camera. Oh well, I think the camera deserves it. Just got whacked. Now I'm drawing a little bit of streaks in here, right in where I put that teal, just to kind of give it a look of maybe a little bit of water, kind of like a transparent water kind of look over it, like and we still have that teal look that doesn't want to show up on camera. It is there. I stick a little bit of my lighter gray in there. I did blue. We'll still do the blue. Do the light Payne's Gray. See, some of these areas just look a little bit too dark. So I'm going to come back through with my Payne's Gray 30% and just kind of soften out some of those dark areas just a little bit. If you like them to be really dark, then you can keep them that way. The only reason why I'm not making it really, really dark is because it'll add too much depth into it. And what that's going to do is if I make this super dark inside those holes with like just nothing but the Payne's Gray, I think it's Payne's 60%. Okay, so if I did that and put the dark inside those holes and kept them that dark, it's going to start looking too deep and too dark, which is going to give it the look of maybe like cork wood. And you don't really want that look of a cork wood type of look, since it is kind of water, maybe like a coral kind of thing. But you don't want it that deep and dark. It's water, so you're not going to get that type of level of like a cork wood type of look. So by keeping it super simple, kind of keeping it light and airy still, then you can still get that look of water, even if it is in whatever shape you feel like making it. I mean, you can make it this whole thing into a coral thing of water. You can make it into pretty much anything. But yeah, keep it really light. Don't go super, super dark inside those holes. If you want to, and you wanted to add some colors, add some teals, add some of these blues, like these nice aqua kind of colors. That would keep it more fresher, more lighter, and it won't give the look of too much depth, which makes it doesn't make it look like water. So don't go too dark. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start more with my blue and start making some just kind of adding on to it. Now, as I'm getting up closer, I am noticing that while I'm getting up further away, I'm starting to make a little bit more of a different design than down here. Like these are more bigger, kind of airier kind of holes kind of going up. And then as I go up, I'm going to start kind of shifting it to more of a water type of look. So I'm going to be going at much smaller, kind of like smaller gaps or not as much. And then I'm going to take the white and start making a little bit more of a, how should I put it? More of a vein type of look. And we'll see that as soon as I get up there. Right now, we're just going to go ahead and work on this bottom piece as of right now. I still want to kind of curve this and make it look like it's still kind of curving up and around. So as we give this look, we're still making it look as though the waves are taking a turn and kind of going up like that. So you can see how I'm kind of angling it on up. Now, I did tape this off really, really thin, so when you do go to mat it, it probably will matte some of this that's on the corner that I'm doing, but that's fine. I'd rather it be matted over a little bit of it than not be enough. I've had some that were not enough, and I should have drew it or continued it a little further, and those I was just like, oh my goodness. If you do something like that, then basically to mat it, you would have to do a customized mat. And when you cut the customized mat, it just makes it a little bit more of a pain in the butt instead of getting one that's already the size that you need. I learned that because I really didn't like the fact of having to customize mats. I'm still trying to perfect how to mat and make my own mats. I'm not that good at corners. That's the part that gets me, is the corners. If I were to learn how to make the corners and cut the corners, or how to get one to match the other, then I would feel a lot better. And no matter how much I try to learn that, for some reason I can't cut corners. I'm having trouble with corners. Putting in some of this Payne's Gray 30% in there. We may even throw in some of the dark. And like I said, we're going super light on this because you definitely want to add lots of layers. I'm just going to throw in a friendly reminder. Please leave a like on this channel. I know I've seen several views. I haven't really seen no likes, and definitely would love to have those little thumbs up. So just a friendly reminder, click that little button. Please give me a thumbs up. Help the channel grow. I know it's kind of weird. It's like, really? That really does help the channel grow. It really does. It really does. So okay, I was working with the lighter silver. I don't know if I want to do that just yet. Do I? Yeah, let's go ahead. And see, I got this. Okay, you guys can't see. Oh no, I'm gonna bring it on down. Okay, like right here. I don't know if you can see that. You can see when I take my sleeve away. That's horrible. Okay, so anyways, there's like a little white circle that I put up there, and basically I just left it as a reminder of, hey, this is where you kind of had like, I had like a little bit of a see-through area there where you can kind of see through. There was like a gap, but it is totally up to you if you guys want to keep the gap or if you don't want to keep a gap. Sometimes, you know, with me, I put the gap in, but it's like not something that I know that I have to do. Like, I don't really have to put in that gap in there. I could probably cover that up, but we could put like a little bit of something kind of wishing in there. Could have left it a little bit bigger. But it's totally up to you guys. If you feel like putting in something, or if you just want to change it up. If you think it would look better to not have it. So I'm just kind of working, kind of filling in and still kind of looking on how things are turning up is all I'm doing. It is very relaxing. That was the other thing about in my daughter's room whenever we made that switch to kind of try it out, test it out, how it would be like if if her room was in my art room and if my art room was in her room kind of thing. And um, her room, for some reason, trying to work in it, I just had a lot of sunlight, which was really nice to have a lot of the windows, because in this room it is really dark. And as you can see back there, it looks really, really dark. I have like this big old, it's not like a spotlight, but it's almost as bright as a spotlight that's hanging up on the ceiling. It really, really helps out, because if I didn't have that, it would be super dark in here. And for some reason, I just work better in the dark. Like, if it's dark, I work better. But if it's super bright, like my daughter's room, oh my God, I was yawning so much that I literally started just pouring down tears down my eyes, yawn, yawn, yawn. And then I literally started thinking, you know what? It would be really nice if I had a cot, like one of those fold out little beds, like the little cheapy ones that you would get that you just fold out and lay on it. And I so wish that I had one where I could just lay it out in my daughter's bedroom and just take me a cat nap, because it just was so tiring up there. Like, it's a perfect bedroom. It really is a perfect bedroom. I don't think you can get any better of a bedroom than what she's got. She's seriously got a good bedroom. If it's wanting me to put me to sleep in a work area, she's got a really good room, because that's where you want to go to sleep, in a place that makes you so sleepy and tired. So it didn't really help out with me. And it was like, I didn't really function that much. Like, it felt like I was not creating or able to create or able to think, and I felt like I wasn't getting as much done. And then the moment I move into this room and I'm like, okay, I'm going to start getting into my routine again, bam, what happens? I got reference photos done. I got a lot of this artwork like that I was working on with the water. I got this mostly done. I was already starting to work on figuring out the coloring pages and for Patreon. I mean, I was like bam, bam, bam. It was so quick. It was super nice. So having the right room and the right feeling within that room definitely can set the mood on whether or not you're productive in your artwork or not. Believe it or not, it is a proven fact. So if you give you a room that you're just not comfortable with, or maybe you like it, but in the feeling makes you tired, or, it's just not the right setting, you won't be as productive. I mean, that could be the case. Maybe some of you could work just about anywhere and be just perfectly fine. But for me, it was just not. It wasn't really working out for me, and I don't think it was working out with her neither on her room, the switch. It's a good thing that she was like, my daughter told me, she's like, but it's so much work to be able to move everything. And I looked at her, I said, you don't have to lift a finger. I will do it all. Like, don't even think about it. You don't have to lift a finger. Everything will be moved, except for my son. he got to help. But since he just is one of the gamers, he can help. He's a gamer. He can help. He can do something constructive. He's got muscles. Okay. So now we got this nice flow, and you can see the direction that it's going. So we got these waves kind of coming up, and it's just doing a splash, We got some back here that's just kind of cascading on out. So we got like some different, oops, layers going on in here. I just need to get these down here before we work our way on up. And then we'll end up going back through if we need to and adding any more that we can see, or if we need to start blending with our blender. Now with this gap here, it is really, really big, as you can see. And what we could do is make like little splashes just like coming through there. And we can make like a little bit of a circle. Really, we should have been doing that with white. So we can make some little splash marks kind of coming in. And see, like with that area, just looks really, really grainy. We can come back through with our blender. I'm still not pushing down real hard. I mean, you could push down really hard with this, but I feel like if I possibly want to add any more layers to it, then I want to kind of leave it the way it is. Just kind of go softly on it because I want to add some more layers, or I could possibly want to. Now I may end up need to sharpen this here. And let's just say with this one here, taking a little bit of that darker gray in there. But let's just say you didn't really want that and it doesn't look right. You can always take your perfection eraser and erase some of these areas if you don't like the design on the way it looks. Like if the curves don't look right or something's not going right. Like I really don't like this right here. Like these, like I'm starting to not really like that. So I can always take my perfection eraser because I didn't really go too much over it. And I can go ahead and erase that area. Just to where I get some of the tooth of the paper. You can feel it. It feels a little bit rougher. And that just brought out some of the tooth of the paper there. I think I can still kind of get away with that. Okay. And so if you don't like it, then just kind of change it up. So let's just say we want this to kind of go at an angle this way. Okay. Now we got that little slope out of there. And it doesn't look as bad. And tone down just a little bit more of this darker color. And some of this blue. Still looks blue, it's just not as dark. Okay. All right, so we got that nice little curvature kind of going in there. Okay, making sure that wasn't anything important. Sorry about that. All right, so now we're gonna start curving our way on up here. Like I said, I haven't really, I mean, there's still stuff more I could probably do down here, like making maybe some of these whites, like the white a little bit brighter, which we can do, probably need to do. We're already at 809, so, I mean, we're not doing too bad. And then once I cascade it on up and around this area here and get some of the splashes, you guys kind of see how I got the white area going with the water, and you also seen the teal, so you kind of get an idea on both worlds. Now you're your mechanical sharpener, hopefully it ain't too loud. Now I may have sharpened that just a little bit too sharp. I know it's going to break. The Derwent drawing pencils here, if you sharpen them to a sharp point like this, just always be aware, guaranteed, it's going to break. Even if you press down super softly, it will still most likely break. It is really soft. It's one of the softest cores on a pencil, so okay. Always want to be careful whenever I'm sharpening these in the mechanical sharpeners. I don't want to push it in there too long, because I definitely want to save on my pencils. These pencils do cost a little bit, and me being as picky as I am on trying to save, because you know, it's hard to get things nowadays. So I try and sharpen just very little, just pushing it in just enough to where I can take it out and see it. If it's not sharp enough yet, I'll put it back in, just a little bit of a push, but not very much, because I don't want to waste my pencil. So these pencil sharpeners, you can just push in on it and sharpen, and you can eat the whole entire pencil. So just want to be careful. See, just that little bit and it's already sharp enough. Like, don't go too sharp. Now, if you can stock up on pencils and you are free to be able to get what you get another one anytime, you know, feel free to push in as hard as you want on a sharpener. For me, I can't, you know, if I run out of a pencil, it may take me you know, a week or two to be able to get another one. So just to let you guys know. And then also on your Perfection Eraser, you can also sharpen that one too. So I don't know if you're really supposed to stick it in a mechanical sharpener, but I have done it, so. And I get it sharpened pretty quick, so there we are. My Perfection Eraser is now sharpened. Let me get me a drink real quick. And let's kind of throw in some whites in here. We can kind of see on some of these marks on which ones we definitely want to stay and brighten up a little bit. crazy how white that, or light, like the light, just because of my blue shirt. I think it's my blue shirt. Maybe it's my nails. It changes color depending on what you have in front of it. It's crazy. So you can see how that's turning up and kind of washing out, making some of the areas brighter. Like I said, if you're wanting to go super, super bright or a lot brighter than what I'm going, then you can definitely use the Perfection Eraser, kind of remove some of that underneath color pencil, and then put it in on top, or you can wait until you put some of your titanium white and brush and pencil down mixture, or touch-up texture and titanium white powder mixture. You can always do that and wait and then put that in there, and then it'll be super bright. So it's all going to be depending on you guys. Oops, almost lost it. Okay, so we got some little dots on there. We also have some little dots down below too, but they're like super, super tiny. I made them like speckled, tiny. I'll probably end up going in there and using the titanium white mixture just to make them that much brighter. Got this in here. If we want to make a really big one, we can, like right in here. I could take some of the blue. It's really nice. We could just kind of stick them wherever we want and just kind of create them, like anywhere. So that's what I've done. At least that's what I done whenever I was creating those little splashes, and just kind of, oops, stick them in randomly. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move this on up. Actually, how far do we have to go? You can tell we got actually quite a bit. So we still have to cascade this on up and around. So since you see me do the most part on this, maybe I'll just start working a little bit on this splash area in here so that way you guys can at least see that and how I do it. Some of these graphite lines that are a little bit too dark, I'm just going to erase just a little bit off the top layer. You can still see it, so I'm not trying to just get rid of it completely. All I'm trying to do is just take off a little bit of that shiny kind of graphite feel to it, so that way the color pencil will stick to the paper a whole lot better over the top of it, which means it will be covered a lot easier. Now, if you left some of the graphite and it's a little bit too dark, what that is that it's still got the slick of the graphite. And when you try and put your color pencil over the top of it, it may not cover it. It may still be showing through because the color pencil is just kind of slicking right over it. So just by taking off the top little layer of graphite where it's a little bit darker, then it should be able to cover it and you won't be able to see it at all. Like it's good. So that's the whole reason why if you have any drawings and you're like, oh no, I can see like the graphite lines showing through my white on my color pencil, or I can see some of the yellows kind of shining through, or that, you know, the graphite shining through my color pencils on the yellow. Well, that's just because maybe you didn't erase the graphite and there's still some of that slick kind of dark graphite that's still on the paper and that shows through. It's not removing it completely. I can still see my lines. Okay, so we're going to go with more of, well, we could do the blue. Yeah. Like smelling something funny. I think somebody's eating in there. I don't know what they're eating. Don't you hate that? It's like, figure it out. What's that smell? I'm probably as bad as my dog. Sniffer goes crazy trying to figure it out. And I'm making sure that my lines on this, like wherever I'm doing that blue, I'm kind of going at an angle down and then I'm going to try and swoop it around. So I'm trying to go in the same direction as the splash, like more of the splash of the wave. Now in the reference photo, you kind of got the scattered like speckle stuff and foam just kind of flinging everywhere, little bitty dots everywhere. Now, you could do that if you feel like spending a year, but I don't feel like spending that long. It's like, I don't know if I have the patience to go that long trying to create every little dot exactly like the reference photo. So I am just kind of getting it in the same form, in the same direction, but I'm kind of doing my own thing. So that's just what makes me, is that sometimes I just feel like creating things a little differently, but yet similar. Like I still want that splash. I still want it to kind of go up and curve around and do all this really cool stuff, you know, in the direction, because that's why I chose this anyway. Like I liked the way the wave came up and splashed and did this curve, and in my mind I was seeing it like this. This is the way I was seeing it, like more curved and kind of splashing up. Whenever I read that it was like sea foam, I was a little bit disappointed. I was like, I was really hoping it would be a wave. So why not make it what I want? Like make it, and that's the one thing about being an artist is that you can kind of change things and make it the way you want it. It doesn't have to be exact as a reference photo. But if you have an idea and it's just something that kind of fits into your idea of what you're wanting, then definitely use it. And then pull out some of the things that you want from that reference photo. You don't have to use the reference photo to a T, but you can pull out what you want out of that reference photo. Like me, I wanted the colors, like those teals and all that stuff. Just by looking at that, it gave me the idea, okay, this is where they have it, so I can put those teals there. Or I really like how, you know, the wave just kind of goes up and splashes. I don't like that it's foam and it's got all these different bubbles in them. I mean, I like some of them, but I don't like all of them. So why not change it? Do it to where you have some. Okay, so I came around with this one here, kind of came out a little bit here, but now I'm going to start kind of slowly turning it and making it come, like I'm going to start making it change and go up this way too, because it's also got to go straight. Let's go that way, that one can go around those. If I wanted to keep the little gaps, not for sure if I would or not. It ain't like my paper's got so much of a different color. It is a really light blue, so even if I left it a light blue, you probably wouldn't tell that that was the background or that it had a hole through it. So I don't think it's really going to matter too much on these little gaps because you wouldn't tell anyway. Their scenery on that one, on the reference photo, they had it really dark blue for the water, like a blue and a teal. So, or at least an aqua. So you're going to tell that it's see-through with a little bit of the background showing. Mine, nah, you ain't going to see that. My light blue of this paper is just almost matching. I can't be smelling his cereal from in here. There's no way. I wonder if he's having cereal or if he burnt something. Like, it's almost driving me nuts that I seriously want to go find out. Otherwise, my little sniffer is gonna, like, drive me crazy on trying to guess the smell. Yeah. I'm gonna erase some of these gaps. Some of the graphite, so that way I can, if you need to and you need to cover up any of these, you can. Like, make it the way you want it. Okay, let's go ahead and take some of my Paint Spray 30%, fill in some of those little gaps and holes. I'm going to take some of this lighter color here, this Paint Spray 30%. I'm going to go around some of these holes. Whoops. That's a hole. I don't want to push down too hard or anything like that, but I just want to go around the outline of what some of this graphite was. I mean, it's definitely different than over here. You got a lot of these bubbles and everything, and over on this side, I'm not creating so much of the bubbles. I mean, I'm creating more of a kind of like these points and like some of the stream, but like the splash and the wave. It just looks a whole lot different. But also you got to figure too, this wave could be a little bit further in a distance too than up here. Because it's kind of curving on back and around. So I'm still going to add in some circles though. Let's just add these here. Let's work on this part so that way you can see what I'm going to do here opposed to what I'm going to do on the top here. We may end up making some more of those little bubbles on top, kind of like over here. That way we have this to kind of match that area, and then this splash over can be a little bit different. We'll just see. Making sure the cat's not in here, picking on poor little Pebbles because Pebbles is awake. Oh, I'm dying to know what he ate. Seriously, my nose is so bothered. Let's take some of this darker. I'm not going to doubt it, but I bet my little puppy's wanting to go out. Most likely he will come to me first and then want to be taken out to use the restroom. And he is peeking at me through the door. And he just laid down. So hopefully, and I don't know where my son is. He was supposed to be watching him. But his sense of watching him is playing video games in his room upstairs with his door open. So he has an open door policy. That doesn't seem very helpful. But in his eyes, I guess it is. I don't know. Hey. I don't see it. I can also take out this white. Well, obviously it's cold enough to turn on my heater. It may be a little bit loud for you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. Pretty sure I'm not gonna freeze to death. Now, as these lines that I'm making here are kind of cascading around on this wave, I'm just kind of tightening them up a lot more. So instead of having like gaps that are like this big in my water, I'm actually tightening up a whole bunch of them. So they're really close together. They're not as big because they are curving around, so it's actually getting closer together with the gaps. And then as I cascade it through here, we're going to start bringing some of these gaps a little bit further apart. May have to switch it over to my Payne's Gray 30%. I have a lot better time with getting more of those sharper edges when using this. The white is good on the Derwent drawing, but it's just a little bit more thicker of a core, and it tends to give me a little bit thicker of an area white. But if I'm wanting to go a little bit thinner, then I definitely want to pick up this one. Now, even though I'm holding it the way I am with my pencil like that, I'm really not pushing down that hard. It's just my pencil is getting super short, and I had to double check myself to make sure that I had an extra one of these and an extra one of these, because definitely was running low on them, and I was super afraid that I was going to run out of these pencils and not have another one for a backup. But I looked at my spare pencils, and luckily I ordered them. So they are already there for just in case if I ran out. I still have another one of these. I have actually a little list of pencils that, like single pencils, that I'm about ready to run out of, and they're getting short. And I have a list of them, but that list is so old now. It's probably at least 7 months old, well, almost a year old. Yeah, it would be almost a year old. And I'm super afraid that if I run out of a pencil, I'm gonna be stuck. So I really need to make an updated list. That's what I do. I go through all my pencils and which ones are they're sharp and which ones I already have like in stock of them. And if I don't have that pencil, I'll go ahead and order them. So I definitely need to go through that again because I know things have changed. I've done several color pencil pieces since that time, and there may be some colors that I'm really needing and don't know it yet until it's like, surprise, I'm on a live stream, and then run out. Like, oh no. That's whenever you improvise. Might change it a little bit, but maybe it's for the better. But sometimes you just don't feel like improvising, especially if you're doing repetitive work, kind of like these waves, having to kind of change them out, or like, yeah, I'm going in different directions, but I am using kind of the same colors. Aww. He definitely, I think, needs to go outside. And he is waiting so patiently. It's all right, baby. We almost done. Hey, sweetheart. Aw. We're almost done. It's okay. It's a little bit blue there, so I'm just kind of making this wave a little bit bigger. Well, he's about ready to start whining. Hold on one second. Let's see if my son's in here. Maybe not. Is no one? Is Ethan? No. Ethan is upstairs. All right. We're gonna do just a little bit more, and then I'm gonna have to probably sum it up. I mean, we pretty much got a lot of this done. We went ahead and created all these waves, and then we're starting to do the splash marks. But yeah, I mean, we've pretty much done that. Oh, what am I doing? Wrong one. Probably need to redo that one. It's like Perfection Eraser is not your blender. And see, if you don't want the points in there, you don't have to. You can kind of bubble them out just a little bit on the ends too. Make it not as pointy. Yeah, he does. He went and got Daddy. It's like, okay. You gotta go, you gotta go. Aw, how sweet. All right. And see, what's the shame on this is that it looks really, really gray. You probably look like you're seeing all these gray tones, but for some reason the blue is not wanting to show up very well. And actually the paper itself on camera, this is blue, it looks gray. Like in the camera, it looks gray. I don't know if I could hold this up and it changes colors. That would be kind of nice. Nope, just looks like a gray. There we go. Kind of changed some of the colors in there. You can see some of the blues that I have going on in there. A lot of teals. There's some teals kind of going in toward the bottom. Some of the bubbles. Of course, those are really teal. But it's really hard to get that blue to even show up. This is one of those drawings that definitely, and like my husband even said, and my son, he's like, oh my gosh, they said it looks so much better in person than it does on your camera. I'm like, well, I guess the bad thing would be is if your stuff looks really, really good on camera and then looks not so good in person. So somebody gets it and they see it on camera, they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to get this. And then they get it at home and they're like, wow, it's so much better. I'd rather have that reaction than somebody think, wow, it looks so good on camera. And then whenever they get it, they're just like, oh, it doesn't look as great as it did whenever I was looking at the picture. So I guess I can see it one way. I may have to sharpen my colorless blender just a little bit. That way I can get into some of these finer points. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of smooth some of these edges down. I mean, you're still going to have some of that gritty grainy, maybe just a little bit, but some of it is okay whenever you're working with waves. Like for some reason, it's like some of the gritty grainy actually gives it a little bit of a kind of like a frothy kind of foam kind of look to it. So I'm not too upset with some of it. Like some of it I will leave. But some of the areas that I definitely want to get maybe not as frothy looking, more smoothed down, then I can go and do it. But for the most part, this looks pretty good. I will have to definitely add a lot more white up here and a whole lot more bubbles. But yeah, that's pretty much how I am doing it. As far as up above his head, he will have some more. Of course, just this little segment right here. I know it's supposed to be like frothy I can't even say it. Like a frothy kind of foam, like sea foam mixed in with water, kind of splash there, but I don't know. I just think it would look really, really weird to have all that in there. So I'm going to make it more like waves kind of splashing. So we have some kind of coming in here, but then I'm going to make another maybe kind of like coming up and change this up. Instead of having this big bulky weird thing here, we may end up having a splash, or we could end up doing it a little different, but really thinking that this needs to be more like that, like more of a splash. But we could curl it up a little bit, and then I don't know, I just don't like that too much. This is the one thing that I kind of didn't care for too much on the reference photo, was just that big round circular stuff, and I did it down here. So but this here is going to be a little bit like further away from him, so I'm really thinking a splash, like an actual splash, like wave splash, and then some water cascading up would be fine. So we might end up doing one more up here of those, like the frothy water kind of look there. We could end up doing one right there, just kind of topping it off. I don't know. I may end up not doing that. So it's all just going to depend. I'm going to go over this again. And as you can see, I can add so many layers to this. And see, another thing too is that you definitely don't want to rush through this. And I know that I have a habit of doing it too, is whenever I'm doing a live stream, even though I work super, super slow, normally I work really, really slow. But when I'm on a live stream, I still work slow, but I try my hardest to speed it up and make it as quick as I possibly can. So that way I can get as much as done as I can for you guys. And I know a lot of you guys are just like, it's okay, take your time and do what you need to do. But sometimes in your head, it's like you want to rush through things, especially whenever you're demonstrating or showing a video or doing a live stream. You definitely want to work a lot quicker so that way you're making more progress and it looks like you're doing it real quick or anything like that. And that's just, I mean, I could do that, but it's just like I'm not focusing or putting in as much effort into it, which means that it's going to come out looking maybe good, but not as good as what it could be if I just took my time. So definitely don't get in a rush. Take your time. If it takes you like 2 weeks to work on something like this, then let it take 2 weeks. Just don't rush, because when you rush, it really shows in your artwork. And I definitely have a habit of feeling like the pressure to try and hurry and get it done as quickly as possible. I used to think too, because I'm like, that's really the most thing that always gets in my head is I seen how quickly some artists work, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not like that. I am super slow. And that's okay. So one thing that is okay. Don't, like I said, don't be slow in any other thing, because you may not have a job no more. Just like me, volunteering, trying to put, like, volunteering for the 4th of July festival thingy in my hometown, and me volunteering and not being quick enough, and then him having to move me to the ice, putting ice in the cups, and I still wasn't quick enough. That literally they said, thank you so much for your help. We don't need you right now, but we can get you later, maybe if we need you. No, I basically got told that I was too slow, and therefore they did not need me volunteering, which is really sad because I really tried my hardest. I looked like I Love Lucy with the order. If you guys ever seen that show where she was like doing the candy thing on a conveyor belt, and the candy belt just kept on getting faster and faster, and she started just eating the candy instead of trying to hurry up. Okay, that looked like me, except that I wasn't shoving things in my mouth. I literally was trying, but it was just going everywhere, and I wasn't having no luck. And yeah, therefore, I got told that go have fun and enjoy the rest of your 4th of July. Yep. So food restaurants don't work for me. I've tried several of them actually, and I could never do it. So I give you guys, anybody who's ever worked as food, doing waitressing. I even volunteered one time. I volunteered to help, and it came back and bit me in the butt. And it was a long time. I was probably only like 16 years old. Or no, I was 17 maybe. Yeah, I think it was like 17 years old. And I was working a job already as a cashier, but then I wanted to work another job in the summertime because I wasn't doing my volleyball. So I worked at this Mexican restaurant, and they hired me, and it's like their hostess, where you just set people down in their seats, and that was pretty much it. So I was able to do that. Like, I was able to take them, and grade them and set them down. Well, then they started saying, oh, we need help. We're out of waitresses, and we need one so bad, and all this kind of stuff. And I'd never waitressed before. So I was just like, I'll volunteer. I'll help you guys. And they're like, have you ever waitressed? And I said, no, I haven't. But if you guys need somebody, I said, I'll be more than welcome to help in any way I can. They said, sure. So they stuck me as a waitress, and they immediately hired somebody to be the hostess. So my job was gone. There was no way I was going to get that back. And come to find out, I was a really bad waitress. Like I couldn't I couldn't hurry, and then they sat me down with so many people and I would forget about everybody. I even forgot to give them drinks. I had people walking out and they were just like, and they didn't even have their drinks. I think they got their chips and salsa and then they were gone. Like they walked out because I took too long and didn't get their drinks because I forgot that they were even there. Like I was so bad. And then that's whenever my boss was like, okay. And he took me out because he was super, super nice. I mean, he was super nice. And he was just like, if you don't get a hang of it by tomorrow, then I'm going to have to let you go. And I was like, okay, that's my sign. I'm not welcome back tomorrow. I'm not coming back tomorrow. So yeah, that didn't work out very well. And it just stuck with me. It just haunted me ever since, you know, that I couldn't do that. Like that type of work is just, I can't do it. I tried. And then I told one of my friends taught me into working with her at another restaurant. And I told her, I said, I cannot be a waitress. Like, I'm telling you, I am horrible at it. And she didn't believe me. Well, even the boss, her boss was like, come on, work with me. Work, you'll be fine. I'll make sure everything's okay and would teach you and go slow. Yeah, I was forgetting people again. And I couldn't do it, and I kept on trying, and they were noticing that I was struggling, but yet I got the computer really well. Like they said, that's the hardest part. I got it within one day. I was good. Click, 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 touched everything, was doing amazing. And they're like, wow, you're really good at computers. I'm like, yeah, it's the only thing I can, I guess, do or figure out on this thing. But other than that, serving people, nope. Then I said, no, I think I'm better off probably somewhere else. So yeah, I want to give a round of applause to every person who's ever waitressed. I cannot do what you guys do. You guys are amazing. So yeah, I'm the slow one. All right. Oh, am I even working where you guys can even see the whole time? Well, all right. So basically I was sticking in some whites in some of these areas, and I only got 2 minutes, and then we're probably going to go ahead and wrap this up. I mean, I'm basically doing the same thing, kind of like with here. I'm just kind of taking this wave and making smaller marks, but yet we're not going to have as big of gaps in this, because it is right now flowing and it's really tight and it's doing a curve. I don't know what Pebbles is doing there. She's restashing all her food, so Pebbles is my little hamster. She's actually sticking it all from the bottom and sticking it down in her bottom corner there of the glass so you can see it. She's like decided to rearrange her home, which is perfectly fine because I do that all the time. So I totally get what she's coming from. She wants to rearrange her home. She can. I get it. I do the same thing. Okay. And then I'm going to have to erase some of this. So I'm pretty sure it's like a double wave. It looks really weird. It's like bubbled up. I don't even know what that, I mean, I know what it is if I were to create that kind of thing, but I don't know if I want to go that route. I don't want to put bubbles way up this high. We could. I'd rather just have the flow and the feel of the wave. Rather than these bubbles. I just don't like them. I want more power to this wave cascading up. The bubbles just seem to kind of slow things down. So like, I shouldn't be using that. So like these bubbles up here, whenever you look at it, it looks more slower kind of feel like it's going in slow mode, having these nice round bubbles here, kind of like cascading, flow, slow mode. And then as it cascades up, this up here just feels like it's going really fast. So you have more of a slow motion and it's just going faster, faster, faster. And in the tightening of those waves, how it's going together to make that swoosh, it's more of really quick. It shows kind of a speed of things when you look at it. So you got this here that goes really fast, like it's splashing up. And then you got down here, which is more of a slow mode kind of thing. And then crashing up to, I mean, I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but it definitely gives you a sense of feel of emotion, more of a speed in your painting. So it's showing you something when you look at it. So not only are you looking at the colors and the differences between the bubbles or more of the straight lines here, but you're getting a sense of emotion, speed. So let's go ahead and lift this up so you can kind of take a little bit glance of this at a little bit further back view. Maybe I should go a little bit. Looks like Whiskey's already ready to play, so hear her daddy shush him. He ain't getting in trouble. It's okay. They are totally fine. So there we go. And that spin step back. So now as you can see this, you're getting a sense of speed. You got more of this slow motion kind of feel here, but then as it goes up and spins around, you got more of a feel of speed kind of going up and around. I'm sorry, I hope my husband knows that every time he makes that SH noise, that it seriously drives my puppy insane. Like Whiskey like totally goes insane thinking that there's something going on. So he actually goes berserk. It's the opposite. Anyways, all right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. If you could, please leave a like on this channel, subscribe if you haven't already, because I will probably have this done by next week. So next week we'll probably start something completely new. I'm not sure what medium. Maybe I might even ask you guys on what medium should we do and throw out something. So maybe we'll do it that way. But this one here, I will show you the final piece once it's done. So I'll definitely show you that. But anyways, remember to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all on the next live stream. Bye, you guys. Oh, also, if you guys are interested in any of the things that I did use in tonight's live stream, I do have that listed down below in the description. So go check those out if you're interested in any of the things that maybe I've used and you don't have any. Check them out. They're my Amazon affiliate links listed below. And I'll see you guys on the next live stream. Bye, you guys. Lost my mouse. All right, bye, you guys.